All right, so in this next portion of today's class, we're going to take a look at another quadrilateral. All right, this is another one of those quadrilaterals that don't fall underneath the parallelogram umbrella. So parallelograms have tons and tons of properties that really build nicely upon each other, and we kind of look through a progression with those. All right, then we looked at trapezoids and isosceles trapezoids, which were another side branch of quadrilaterals that, depending on how you define them, either had a slight overlap with parallelograms or were a separate branch altogether. All right, now this last one we're going to look at is special in its own way, and that's mainly due to the symmetry that we have, according to Mr. Esterbrook, our esteemed honors geometry teacher. And it is going to be kites. All right, so a kite is very much the same shape as the kites that you played with as a kid, that you flew when you're out at the beach. All right, very similar. It really is the same shape that we're looking at there. All right, and the key idea of a kite, and we'll look at the definition here, is a quadrilateral is a kite if and only if it has two pairs of consecutive sides congruent, but no pair of opposite sides congruent. All right, because if we had the opposite sides congruent, then we'd be into the rhombus situation and or a square, depending. All right, so we're looking at this picture. That means we have two pair of consecutive sides. So AD and AB are the same length. BC and BD are the same length. All right, but those two lengths aren't the same as each other. All right, so it's definitely not a parallelogram because we don't have opposite sides congruent or parallel. All right, but you'll notice that we have these lines of symmetry that go over the longer of the two diagonals. All right, and then on the other diagonal, all right, we have that cut through. Now, if we were in class, I'd be asking you right now, what angle do you feel like that forms where the diagonals intersect? And I'm pretty confident that you guys would tell me a right angle in there, and that those two are perpendicular. All right, and that's one of our first theorems associated with this. And again, think about folding this over on each of those diagonal lines. I think you're going to see that you get a nice right angle there in the corner. The next one, if I look at, is dealing with the angles. All right, and a lot of times to see like a theorem in a relationship, I think about stretching a figure out to an extreme in either direction. All right, so I might think about taking the C and pulling it way out this way and see if I can see a consistent relationship between the angles as I do that. All right, and what I'd hope you notice is as that C would get way out there, the C angle would get much smaller. All right, consistently smaller and smaller and smaller over time. And the A angle opposite it is staying the same. All right, so those two are not congruent. But if I look at the angles at B, all right, and D, those two would stay congruent to each other. As I move C out, they might get slightly bigger. Right? But as they get bigger, they're both getting bigger at the same rate, so they're going to be congruent to each other. All right, so that's really our second theorem that we have in play here, is that a kite has exactly one pair of opposite angles congruent. All right, now, those angles are also always going to be where the non-congruent sides meet. All right, so the non-congruent sides meet. Those are the included angle there is the opposite angles that are congruent to each other. If I look at the problems here, really the problems are going to boil down to using those two properties. We'll notice in this one, we've got these two sides labeled as congruent, and it's Z and 3. All right, so we're going to set Z equal to 3. That's our congruence. We know the value of Z. All right, the other two congruent ones here and here, all right, we've got Y and we've got 7. All right, so Y equals 7. Now, we have the two angles that are congruent, the two opposite angles that are congruent. There and there, that's a 3x plus 4, and that equals 112. All right, so 3x equals 108, and then x, if we divide that over, I believe we get 36 there, all right, as we do that division. So again, we get our x, y, and z. All right, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause this just for a second, give number 2 a try. Okay, so you're back at it, so we're going to take a look at this. All right, we're going to have to trust ourselves a little bit on this diagram. They told us it's a kite. All right, so looking at this and looking at the symmetry, it's pretty clear that those are the two congruent sides, and those are the two congruent sides. All right, so we're going to set up two equations here. We have a 2x minus 12 equals a 2y minus 10. And on the bottom, we've got a 3x minus 2 equals a 2x plus 7. Now, I don't know about you, but when I look at these two, I see a big benefit with starting to the right, because the equation on the right has both x's and no y's, whereas the one on the left has a y in it. All right, and an x and a y is going to be hard to solve. We're not going to be able to do that without more information. All right, but since this one's all on x's, we can do that. So I'm going to subtract 2x over. I get x equals. I'm going to add the 2 over, and we get 9. All right, now, once I know that x is 9, I'm going to use that to make this a little easier to deal with. So I have 2 times 9 minus 12 equals 2y minus 10. That's a 6 equals 2y minus 10. That's 16 equals 2y, or y equals 8. All right, so we get x equals 9, y equals 8, and that's our solution to that problem. All right, moving into 3. All right, this is going to be another problem for us to work on. All right, so if I look at this, I've got 5 down that top piece. I've got a 13 on the side. So I'm going to label the things I can. All right, I know I have 13 over on this side. All right, so that's a definite. So now I'm going to have to try and lean on the information that's here. All right, so if I look at this, the one thing that I notice is it looks like up here at the top, we're cutting a 90-degree angle perfectly in half. All right, if I cut a 90-degree angle in half, because that's going to bisect the top angle there, all right, we get a 45 up there. Now, if that's 45, it's marked as 90 in the middle, this would have to be 45 as well because we only have 180 for the full triangle. All right, right there, that's an isosceles triangle, so this 5 would actually carry over to this side as well. All right, with that piece of information, now I can use Pythagorean theorem. 5 squared plus 5 squared equals x squared. All right, so I would get 25 plus 25 equals x squared, 50 equals x squared. Square root of both sides, 5 root 2 equals x. All right, and that's going to give me that last piece there. All right, this asks for the perimeter, so the perimeter, you add up the sides. So I've got a 13 plus a 13 plus a 5 root 2 plus a 5 root 2. I clean up like radical terms, so I get 26 plus 10 root 2, and that is my perimeter. All right, so that takes you through today's notes. The homework tonight is going to deal mostly with kites. So if we take a look here, it starts off with one trapezoid problem and one coordinate trapezoid problem. And then when you get to number 4, you hit a problem with the kites, and then we intermix trapezoids and kites. Really pay attention to that last page of the homework where you're identifying what shape it is. These are tougher problems and bring up some good discussion for us in class on the following day. Friday is a Q&A session while you're working through the review, so feel free to hop in either the class period or during the office hours and ask any questions you've got. All right, thanks. Bye.